Hello everyone. Today we're going to delve into the autoregressive model, often referred to as AR, which is a crucial concept in time series analysis. We'll then proceed to demonstrate a practical example utilizing resources from the Finance ResearchGate website. Alright, so let's begin our exploration of the time series data, and following that we will proceed to carefully select the annual option for our analysis. For our purposes, let's define the scope of this discussion to begin in the year 2000 and extend all the way through to 2024. So after selecting the frequency and the sample period, we'll do that again quickly here.
We're going to apply.
And then, following these initial preparations, we will proceed to meticulously build the complete data series. For this specific analytical scenario, our primary goal is to regress the annual stock market return against its corresponding dividend yield. Therefore, the very first and most critical variable that we absolutely must carefully construct, which will serve as our dependent y variable, is the annual return itself. And then we will proceed to aggregate that data across all of the firms for every single year. So if we choose to leave these specific fields like the sectors, the tickers, or the industry categories completely blank, meaning these input boxes are left empty, then what that signifies is that our selection will automatically encompass every single firm or indeed all available sectors. We can then proceed to apply this setting. And what we'll be doing is aggregating this information by determining the average annual return for all the firms that exist in each given year. We've already completed the construction of the first data series. For our analysis, we will now proceed to construct our primary independent variable, x, and this specific variable represents what is commonly referred to as the dividend yield. More precisely, is defined as the total dividend amount that has been paid out, expressed in relation to the current market price of a particular stock. And once more, we will be leaving these particular boxes completely empty. By default, we are automatically selecting all available firms. Therefore, by simply scrolling down through this particular interface, we can perform a comprehensive visual examination of the two distinct variables, specifically the y and the x. It's important to note that the dividend yield, by its very nature, will operate on a distinctly different scale. Its numerical value will consistently be considerably smaller when compared to the overall total return. Moving on, we should now swiftly turn our attention to a brief discussion of the autoregressive model. An autoregressive model features a variable whose current value is explained by its on-pass observations, or lags. For instance, in this particular scenario, a variable like x, or the dividend yield, can be effectively predicted using its previous values. The constant term in this particular equation is 5, and then we also have the other significant term, which represents the innovation within the predictor variable. If the raw coefficient here is less than 1, it means that any shocks to the x will decay over time. However, if this raw coefficient is precisely equal to 1, it indicates that we are dealing with a unit root, a concept we thoroughly discussed in the video specifically related to sessionality. However, our primary objective is to accurately estimate the autoregressive component, precisely determining the optimal number of lags that we need to incorporate within this particular model. So, the fundamental idea we're exploring here is to effectively leverage and rely upon the partial autocorrelation coefficient in conjunction with the standard autocorrelation coefficient. This is a concept we've actually touched upon and discussed in some detail in our previous video presentations. So this right here is the primary variable we're looking at, and for argument's sake, we can assume it's explained by two distinct lags. We are considering the first and the second lag in our data. The partial autocorrelation function is what we use when we're estimating the coefficient at this particular point. This approach will effectively account for any intermediate lags present in the data. For instance, if we are estimating the autocorrelation between x at time t minus 2 and x at time t, this process inherently controls for the influence of x at time t minus 1. This specific characteristic, however, does not hold true when we consider the autocorrelation coefficient. Consequently, this is precisely the reason why the partial autocorrelation coefficient, when applied within an autoregressive model, will effectively terminate or cut off its influence immediately after the very last significant lag predictor has been clearly identified. For example, if the final significant predictor in our statistical model is the variable x observed at 2 time periods prior to the current time t, then the partial autocorrelation function will no longer show statistical significance beyond that specific lagged variable.
So if we were to consider, for example, the specific value of xt minus 3, it would not be found to be significant.
Regarding the autocorrelation coefficient, it will require some time to fully reflect that, and then it will gradually start decaying as time progresses. Even when we consider the value for xt minus 3, we can expect to observe a similar pattern of decay over time.
So, generally speaking, the autocorrelation coefficient will give us an understanding of the appropriate number of lags that we need to incorporate.
So the fundamental question we need to consider is, what would be the consequence if we were to completely ignore the autoregressive path of the x variable? This means that if we were to proceed directly by simply running a regression of the y variable, specifically regressing y solely on the x variable, and in this particular step you have the flexibility to decide precisely how many lags of x you wish to incorporate into your model. It's important to note that the choice of adding lags here is entirely separate from the underlying autoregressive path. For instance, you might choose to incorporate as many as 5 lags within your model, even if the actual autoregressive process itself only involves a single lag. Therefore, these two concepts are fundamentally distinct and bear no direct relationship to one another. So, it's possible to incorporate numerous lagged values of the x variable directly into your y equation. The real issue, however, stems from the correlation that exists between the error terms of these two variables. If the variable x can be effectively modeled as an autoregressive process, this implies that there's an inherent innovation or shock within it that might not be fully explained by the model itself, regardless of the specific lags we choose to incorporate. For example, if we were to experience a significant and sudden negative price shock, that specific event would most certainly and directly impact the xt. It is not to be understood as a part of any pre-existing or delayed lags. Instead, it is quite simply a fresh, entirely new piece of information. Innovation is a truly significant event, one that shapes our future.
So that negative price shock will reduce the dividend yield because the dividend yield is simply the dividend divided by price. So if the negative price shock here will increase the dividend yield.
The dividend yield increases because the stock price is lower, meaning the fixed dividend payment becomes proportionally larger compared to the share price. Simultaneously, this new innovation will have an impact on the overall return generated from further innovative efforts in this area. This situation will undoubtedly have a significant impact on innovation, primarily by causing a reduction in the expected annual financial returns. This is because in an environment where prices can turn negative or experience substantial declines, when the market price decreases, the investments will inevitably incur significant losses. Consequently, the overall financial return generated will diminish considerably. So, how exactly can we approach and effectively solve this particular issue? How can we precisely estimate the true innovation that originates from the autoregressive component? This is a specific portion of the data that can be fully accounted for by the preceding lag of the variable x. We commonly refer to this as the inherent innovation found within the predictor variable itself.
Well, we could proceed to estimate the autoregressive model at this particular point.
So the first step would be to save all of the identified errors. Following that, we would then proceed to include these errors right here as a distinct independent variable within the primary y equation. For instance, let's consider the estimated fee amount. And this is how we effectively address the endogeneity problem. The endogeneity, as we've discussed, originates from the statistical correlation between the error term in this specific location and the error term in that other location. So this is what we refer to as the endogeneity problem. This occurs specifically when the innovation term, the return equation itself, and the y equation are all simultaneously affected by both the innovation and the predictor variable. The strength of this effect is quantified by a value of 5. So, as I mentioned earlier, we first need to estimate the autoregressive equation that we're currently using. And then, once that's completed, we proceed to subtract the predicted value of x from the observed or actual value of x. And this calculation will provide us with the resulting estimated error term. Following this, we then proceed to incorporate this very same error term into the primary y equation, where it will function as an additional predictor variable. So, we will be including the dividend yield itself, along with its past observations or lags, and also the estimated error components from the autoregressive model. And through this process, we are able to utilize an augmented regression technique, which effectively allows us to resolve the inherent endogeneity issue. It is absolutely crucial that we accurately determine the appropriate number of lags for this analysis, because if we fail to do so, then the errors will inevitably leak some of their true effect into our current estimations. This will have a significant impact, and it's likely to overlook, for example, some of the most genuine and profound impacts. For example, in this particular situation, if we were to completely omit a truly significant and crucial autoregressive component, Consequently, some degree of endogeneity might inadvertently reintroduce itself into our statistical estimator. Therefore, it is crucial that if we accurately determine the appropriate number of lags, we can then obtain a truly correct estimate of the underlying innovation process.
Within the predictor, and consequently, we will be able to obtain the accurate and correctly estimated value within the context of our augmented regression analysis. Let's now proceed to visualize this using the website provided here.
So let's create the lag for dividend yield, and in this case, we'll include only one lag.
That will be the primary explanatory variable. And then we will add it in.
Now, while we're currently waiting here, it's absolutely essential that we accurately identify the correct statistical model for the autoregressive path. Consequently, our primary focus must be to thoroughly investigate the autocorrelation component.
Not for the annual return, but specifically for the x variable, which represents the dividend yield.
The autocorrelation presented here clearly demonstrates a highly significant first lag autocorrelation. Its specific value is 0.57, and this is indeed significant because it falls well outside the expected range that we are observing in this particular context.
Furthermore, you'll notice that the second lag holds significant importance in our analysis here, mainly due to its position just above the reference line. Now, regarding the remaining values,
the third one is also considered to be a little bit significant, but once we move beyond that particular point, we no longer detect any significant autoregressive elements. For the partial autocorrelation, which is specifically designed to control for all of those intermediate lags, and therefore it becomes a much more powerful and reliable measure to rely on when we are examining the first lag, we can conclude that it is indeed quite significant.
Now, for the second lag, we observe that it's not significant. So once we have controlled for the effects of the first lag, we find that.
Upon careful analysis, we've determined that the second, third, fourth, and indeed all previous lags in our model are not statistically significant. This crucial finding indicates that it is entirely sufficient to incorporate just a single lag when we are in the process of estimating the autoregressive path for our x variable. Therefore, with this important understanding, we can confidently proceed to the next section.
When we're selecting from the classical time series models, we have chosen the AR.
We must carefully calculate and then accurately estimate that particular value for the dividend yield. And most importantly, it is absolutely crucial that we meticulously save all of the resulting statistical residuals. We refer to this as innovation occurring within the predictive mechanism.
We identified an AR model with a single lag, meaning it's an AR1 project. This was determined by analyzing the partial autocorrelation coefficient. Then we provided the data to this model.
All right, here we can see the coefficient. It is indeed quite significant, exactly as we had expected.
And we carefully preserved the innovative component that we found within the predictor variable. And this specific element is precisely what we plan to incorporate and utilize in our upcoming ordinary least squares regression analysis. So, for our next step, we'll need to scroll further down the page and then carefully select the option labeled regression-based. From those available, let's choose the most straightforward one, which is the OLS method. We are going to perform a regression analysis where our dependent variable y will be the annual return. We'll be using the lag dividend yield. For this analysis, we'll only consider a single lag for the dividend yield. This decision isn't because the autocorrelation showed just one significant lag. That is not related to the previous point. The autocorrelation analysis we performed was solely for the autoregressive path of this specific instance. However, in this particular instance, it's something quite different, and they stated that it is sufficient, and we assume it is enough to have just one lag of dividend yield. And additionally, we must not overlook the innovation predictor. All you need to do is follow this specific equation. Next, we incorporate one lag of the x dividend yield, and we also include the innovation term and the predictor variable, and with that, everything will be completely set. Subsequently, we can then perform the regression analysis.
Here we have the coefficients.
And that will be the final outcome, the estimated regression model. So that concludes our discussion for today. I truly appreciate you all for listening.